Good morning and welcome to the Mississippi Board of Nursing. It is June 7th for the business meeting. And before we begin, I would like to ask Mr. Cummins to lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the blessings of this day. We thank you for the beautiful weather outside and just the seasons, how you show yourself through them. Lead and guide us today. Help us to make good decisions, do what's right in your eyes, and just help us to be compassionate and full of your spirit to God and lead the way you'd have us to. We ask this in your name. Amen.
So as we begin, I would like for each board member to state their name, starting to my left.
Alvino Castillo.
Carly Walker.
Janelle Moody.
Alton Shaw. Jeremy Cummins.
Sandra Culpepper.
Janie Clinton. Mary Stewart.
Nancy Lewis Johnson.
Now that we have declaration of a quorum, would anyone like
You
to?
have TJ.
Oh, sorry. TJ, are you?
TJ
Present.
Adams, RN.
So TJ Adams is also in attendance today. With that being said, I would like to see if anybody would like to make a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll approve the agendas.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so next we're going to move to the open forum. And I believe we have someone here from the American Red Cross Southwest Chapter that wanted to come speak with us today.
Yes, Madam President, we have the executive director. I'll ask her to come forward and sit at this desk. This is Ms. Tamika Jewett, who is the executive director of the Southwest Mississippi chapter of the American Red Cross. And she wanted to come and talk to the board members to tell you about what some of the wonderful things that the American Red Cross is doing and how nurses can be an impact at their institution. So Tamika, thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Tika Smith Jewett, as she mentioned, is the executive director for the American Red Cross, and I've been with Red Cross since 2008. Not in this position, but my background with Red Cross had been in communications. My colleague may be coming in shortly here, Darius, who actually leads our disaster programs with the American Red Cross. But our bottom line of being here today is because of our common interest, and that is to alleviate human suffering when times of disaster happens. I could actually say our common interest or our common bond of this wonderful board member that we have here, Phyllis. Phyllis has been amazing with just working with us on a regular basis and meeting the needs in our community. The Red Cross has been around, as you know, for more than 140 years, and we are actually in existence because a person like you, a nurse, the nursing and healthcare professionals, they help us carry out our mission to alleviate human suffering. We have 5 lines of services: disaster, biomed, preparedness and training, international services, and our service to the armed forces. We're impacting lives on a daily basis, and nurses are the core of us, carrying out those services. So today we're hoping that we can call on you, and here comes Darius. We're hoping that we can have your support in carrying out the needs. We do have a nursing shortage. So we would love to talk with you more about that. I know we have a short time today, and with Darius being here and the lead for our disaster response, I'm going to go ahead and let him tell you more about the needs in that area. Thank you. Glad you made it safely.
Yes. Is it afternoon? Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Darius Jackson. I'm the Director of Disaster for Alabama and Mississippi. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you guys. I heard Tamika on the tail end talk about our needs for nurses. As you guys know, a lot of what we do is sheltering, right? And if you've been watching the news, you know that there's going to be a busy hurricane season. We've lived it, we know it, but this has been supposed to be a record high, right? And so we are realizing that we're committing to our shelters now. We're committing to our plans now. And a key part of that is nursing, right? Being able to care for our clients, care for our communities, as well as care for the staff while they care for the community. And so we have partnerships, as you know, along different counties and different cities, as well as we have the ability, if the disaster is large enough, to bring people on the outside of the state into Mississippi. But what we really want to do is empower our community, take care of each other, and be able to have a staff of people to volunteer, whether that's for an hour or 2 hours of nurses, just to give that expertise and make sure that we have everyone is good all around the board.
And I do have something for everyone here. Obviously, first aid is one of our services through our preparedness and training. I want to make sure each one of you get this. I'll leave this with Phyllis, but we welcome you to come and visit and talk with us. We have an open house every second Tuesday of the month from 10 to noon. If you just want to come out and get more information, you can also go to redcross.org to see more of the volunteer opportunities around our nursing needs. And also, I did send you a link, Phyllis, and she's going to share with you all. It's our national newsletter. And you can see more about the great work that Red Cross Nursing Services that's going on around the corner. And I just want to show you this. When I say more than 140 years, come by. You're going to be amazed by some of these pictures. I'm always surprised when we do have nurses visit us and they're able to see that rich history of what Mississippi has done. Or you may hear those stories of, oh, I remember this person. She was a friend of my mom's. And so Red Cross nursing has been a huge part, and we love to share more details with you. And I know we don't have a lot of time today, but if you have some questions, I would love to answer them right now. Any questions for us? Are we going to see everybody? Belated Nurses Week, and we appreciate all that you do. And again, without Phyllis's leadership, we probably wouldn't be here today. So we will be sharing more information, or if reach out to her, she can tell you, put you into contact with us at our office as well. Thank you so much for your time today.
Before you leave, Madam President, from personal preference, because you're speaking to nurses and they have various backgrounds. We have educators, we have clinicians, we have administrators, and I know there's a great need for volunteers at American Red Cross. Who would these individuals contact once they go back to their community and canvass the people that they're around to contact if they wish to volunteer their services, even in their counties, things of that nature? Who would be the point of contact?
Yes, Mississippi is broken off into 3 chapters. You have the Southwest Mississippi chapter, which is pretty the Jackson area, 21 county service area, then North Mississippi, Tupelo, and then also the Biloxi Southeast. So you can find our information on redcross.org. There is a contact information for the executive directors for those areas, as well as the disaster program specialists in those communities. So just give us a call. And again, you've got Phyllis. Phyllis is one of our amazing board members, and she can, shoot me an email and I'll be happy to follow up with you.
And I'd like for our board to take a picture with Darius and Tamika. If we could pause for a moment to do that. But before we do that, I just want to say, Darius, I had the opportunity to be on a call. We had a meeting. And he was so passionate about what he does that I was excited back there in my chair. And I wanted to get up and go out and do, volunteer to be a shelter person, because they provide the training. And you can go out and be a shelter in your hometown doing tornadoes, things of that nature, hurricane season. Rolling Fork, Mississippi was my experience. Even I volunteered in the past for Red Cross, but going with them and seeing what they do. When the tornado hit Rolling Fork, guys, it touched me. So they do an immense amount of work. And these are all volunteers that do this. And they take their job very seriously. They travel from all over the United States. And they made a great impact and continue to make an impact in the community of Rolling Fork, as well as all over the state. So if you've not had the opportunity, I felt like I was sitting, and I'm military, when I went to the command center over there off Lakeland Drive during that period of time and watched them work. It's a fine oil machine, national, local, everything. And it was amazing. So if you've never had the opportunity, reach out to Darius and Tamika, volunteer, sign up for something, go down and watch what they do. And that will change your lives. And you'll go back and you'll see, hey, we need to volunteer. Nurses are the heartbeat, and we need to volunteer. Those people in the shelters need health care. So that's why I want them to come, because you are the people that need that information to take back to your community.
And to your point, I'm glad you brought that up, and you mentioned national and people coming from other areas. Again, you made this point as well. Because the storms are so frequent, and especially here in Mississippi. Now we're seeing them other parts of the areas. Those volunteers are serving their communities. They're in their backyard. So we need to really strengthen our workforce right here so that we're ready to respond at a moment's notice, because we're all having operations going on. So we really can't rely on our neighbors to come here. And Mississippi, and I have to just put it out there, I think the nation, when I talk about the nation, the Red Cross Nation, they're caring for Mississippi and Alabama. We're the ones that having all the disasters all the time. And so now they're experiencing, and we want to be there to support them as well. But at the same time, we need to make sure that our backyard is taken care of. So if you know any retirees or students, I mean, there's all kinds of different roles. You may wonder exactly what would I do? I mean, they're helping fill prescriptions, minor treatment for first aid, or, bruises or injuries, and replacing things like glasses. And you don't think about that. Tornado comes through and everything's wiped out. You don't have your contacts on. You can't see. So you need that immediate assistance. So your care and your expertise will go a long way with making sure that we speed the need to meet whatever is needed from our constituents in the area. You going to say something?
I'll just give a good example. I like examples. On my way here, I had a call here from Mississippi that I was working, that we had a family that had a home fire. And it was 4 children, a husband and a wife. 2 of the kids ended up passing and being a fatality, right? And so when that happened and that occurred, we do not let any other responder speak to this family before they have a conversation with a mental health representative as well as a nurse simultaneously. And so once we analyze those needs, we're depending on our nurse colleagues to say to us, hey, they need this, they need durable medical equipment. Dentures were lost. What about this? And because we have someone who have that expertise, we're now able today, he's been out of the burn unit the wife has, and now we're able to make sure they had all of the medical things they needed. Now they're on the way to recovery, and we're able to support them holistically. That's just with the key turning of a nurse, right? That's the power that nursing has, and that's why it's kind of embedded into the fabric of who we are as American Red Cross. So I just hope that example really just helped paint the picture of how pivotal this is when we're saying the need of nursing, because I know everyone needs nurses, right? All across the country, that's what we need. But just understanding the importance of how that helps someone recover. Thank you, Tamika.
Thank you for your time. Any questions? Anything else?
I would like to thank you all for your services. I'm from Louisville, Mississippi. 10 years ago, we had a traumatic tornado come through that wrecked our town. And our church set up a shelter with the American Red Cross. There were nurses, there were counselors, there were social workers, and it was highly utilized, your services. So thank you
Thank you.
from my community.
And I would like to say, because I know blood donations are super important as well. I gave 2 weeks ago to you guys, so I'm a regular donor. So even if y'all have given 4 gallons of blood to these folks. So the importance is, even if we can't physically be with you guys, I think it's important to recognize that we can go give 20, 30 minutes of our time. And us as nurses, we know the importance of blood components. And being able to give that's my thing in giving back. And so I truly appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much. Are you able to track your blood? Are you been enjoying that? I think that's such a cool, that through the app, do you track your blood and all to donor? That's awesome.
Get like you showed,
Yep.
I got the
For
t-shirt.
the
we're
kids.
going to the
Oh,
movies
she's
next
all in it. She's family. And I do say that I normally ask when I go places, has anybody ever volunteered with Red Cross? I know you probably have had some training, but usually we do have someone who's volunteered. So, I mean, we'll take whatever time you have. It's not a lot of work, and just being that soft presence is nothing like being able to say, here's a nurse that you feel comfortable with talking to. Just imagine when you're talking with your doctor or your medical professionals, so the more presence we have, is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
I'll leave these here. Thank you.
Wanted to go ahead and do a-
Oh, yeah, I need, if you all would get a picture with the board, if the board members, if maybe Tamika and they want to stand behind them or in front. Okay. step behind the board president. Y'all go back there and stand in the center. That would be great.
You know, all move together.
About to say, yeah, I put this in, I was about to say here, now I'm trying to fill in the gaps here. There we go. Yeah, come on, this way so that blue light is. There we go.
Right, I got it.
Thank you. Oh, y'all see me about 13.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
So thank you guys, and we're gonna move ahead now. Is there anyone else from the public? Next, we're gonna move forward is about a legislative update. Dr. Johnson?
There's no legislative report. Trey Barbinger is down on the coast. He told me he was at a meeting. That's his word. But there is nothing to report from the legislature at this point.
It's no vacation after this session.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with that being said, thank you, Dr. Johnson. Next, we have the Office of Nursing Workforce Report. Dr. Burks.
Good morning. From the Office of Nursing Workforce, first is the ONW Student Nurse Retention Scholarships that was started the fall of 2022. During that time, there was 24 recipients and they received between $2,500 and $5,000. 19 of those recipients have graduated from their respective programs and 7 have completed the service work agreement. Also with the ONW Nursing Program Scholarships, on your report, you'll see there's data listed for the fiscal year 2021, 2022, 2023, and as of date for the fiscal year of 2024, 1,168 scholarships were awarded for a total amount of $842,100. The number of those applicants with license is still pending, as well as the percentage that are licensed in Mississippi. That information, we will have a preliminary report in July because those students graduated, many of them graduated in May. At that time, when we present in July, we'll give you an updated report on the previous years because many of those individuals have graduated. So the number of applicants for 21 through 23 and the percentage license, that information will change. Outstanding, we do have Hines Community College in Meridian. They're going to distribute the remainder of their funds to their PN students this summer, and their deadline for that is at the end of this month. Also, in regard to the nursing program scholarship forms, those forms are being revised and they'll be ready for distribution to the schools mid-June. And a tentative application deadline, we have a deadline there for the schools to get that information in so that we can submit it. Their first deadline is July 19th. They also have accountability forms that once they receive their funding, the deadlines are for December as well as April of 2025. In regard to the Howard, to the MSTAR grant, Howard is going to be completing the installation of their equipment this summer. We have Itawamba, East Mississippi, and Northeast that are pending. And there is a picture from Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, and it shows how the programs have been utilizing that equipment to enhance the student learning and their outcomes. In regard to MMVP, currently there are 33 participants. They have 1 potential pending, and Belhaven has reached out and they've expressed the interest in having a student intern with MVP. And that tentative schedule is July 2024 to December 2024. And we'll have more information on that at the next meeting as well. And that is the end of my report for the Office of Nursing Workforce. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Burke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just real quick, so the intern from Belhaven, it's a nursing student or?
Social work student.
Okay, all right, thanks.
That's for Dr. Burks. Thank you, Dr. Burks, for the ONW report. And at this time, would you like to speak to the practical nursing education report, Dr. Burks? Yes, ma'am.
The practical nursing report, I do have one recommendation before I get into the report to bring forward, and this is from Northeast Mississippi Practical Nursing Program. They have submitted a request to close the PM program on the New Albany campus. And the reason, as the hospital in that area is not hiring LPNs, in addition, they're having difficulty finding supportive clinical sites. And my recommendation is that their request to close the PM program on the Albany campus be honored.
What is that?
Oh, let me continue. Okay. For Holmes Community College, evening and weekend, I have an update. Holmes Community College in October of 2021, they were granted permission to offer an evening weekend program on the Richland campus. And with that, they were required to submit information to the board regarding their first cohort 6 months after that class graduated. They admitted 30 students in that program. Completion was 20 students. Their completion rate was 66%, and their target rate is 50%, so they surpassed their target rate. Their NCLEX pass rate was 19 of 20 pass NCLEX on first right for a pass rate of 95%. Also, with the accreditation schedule, that is upcoming under the purview of the board. The first site visit is scheduled for in a couple of weeks, June 18th through the 20th. That will be at Copiah Lincoln Community College with Dr. Lisa Pearson, Ms. Jamonica Johnson, and Ms. Amy Myers, a part of that team. We will also do a follow-up visit on June 25th with Blue Cliff College. That team will consist of Dr. Melissa Bryant, Ms. Teresa Cole, and Ms. Betty Gann. September, there's a site visit scheduled for Meridian. That's going to be September the 10th through the 12th. Northeast is September 23rd through the 25th. Coahoma is scheduled for October the 16th through the 18th. Itawamba is scheduled for October the 21st to the 23rd. The Practical Nursing Program annual report is ready for the upcoming reporting period. And the deadlines the schools have for submission is October 15th. And that is a part of them maintaining their accreditation approval. For our community participation, I participated in the Mississippi School Nurse Association Conference this week, which was June 4. I'm scheduled to participate in the PN Council Faculty Retreat at Mississippi Gulf Coast on June 24, Mississippi Delta Community College Penning, July 8, and the Community College Board CTE Conference in Natchez, and that's going to be in August. That is the end of my report.
Thank you, Dr. Burks. So with the information presented by Dr. Burks, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the request to close the Northeast Mississippi PN program in New Albany? I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we are going to move on to, thank you, Dr. Burks.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to move on to the Executive Director's report. Dr. Johnson?
Good morning, Madam President, members of the board. This report aims to provide you with important updates on nursing regulations, licensure data, disciplinary and investigation numbers, and other pertinent board information since the meeting of April 2024. The Mississippi Board of Nursing mission and values remain the same: to protect the public, promote competence, collaborate with stakeholders, utilize innovation and technology to implement best practices, provide information and guidance to nurses, educators, and the public, and to offer guidance in the healthcare workforce related to regulation and practice. I want to provide you with some updates that are pertinent. The 2024 NCSBN annual meeting will be held in Chicago, Illinois, August 28th through the 30th, 2024, with board members and staff traveling to convene on August the 27th, 2024. The NCLEX conference for 2024 that is sponsored by NCSBN is scheduled for September 12th, 2024. That is usually a virtual conference. And if that changes, I will let you know. But that we do have educators that like to attend that conference either virtually and some of our practitioners as well. The NCSBN Policy Conference has not been determined as to the location and the date. It is tentatively scheduled to occur in November of 2024. Hopefully, I'll have some additional information and will be able to pass that information on to you during the July board meeting. That is a good policy conference to attend. In the past, I think we've had it in Atlanta. We've also had it in Florida, but I don't know what the location will be this year, but I'll let you know as soon as that information is released to me. The board has been very visible. You heard Dr. Burks talk about her participation in numerous activities since the April meeting. I just want to bring a few to your attention in addition to what she has already talked about, the Mississippi School Nurse Conference. We are partnering in a lot with the school nurses across the state of Mississippi and the Mississippi Department of Education because they have the standards for which the school nurses practice in the state of Mississippi. They're being asked to do more complex things. The patient care is more complex now. I think one school notified us they had 5 students with traits in the school. And so that requires almost one-on-one nurses in that particular institution. So we have been partnering with them to make sure that they're adhering to not only to their scope of practice, but the standards as implemented by the Mississippi Department of Education. And there are some meetings planned. I know Dr. Burks and I have talked about meeting with the representatives from the Mississippi Department of Education to look at what we can do in partnership to ensure that the licenses of the school nurses are not compromised. Additionally, I would also like to bring to your attention, Operation Nightingale is ongoing, and there is no new data to report for the state of Mississippi. That is always a good sign, but it is ongoing. NCSBN has also released its fraud detection guidance for employers and educators. I've asked that that be placed in your packet. If you don't have it, please let me know. But this is guidance for educators in the school systems, the schools of nursing, and employers that employ nurses to detect fraud in some of these individuals that have attended some of these schools. I've also placed in our next newsletter, I've placed an article that I reference this information. You can also access it at ncsbn.org. It's very good information to have, and it gives guidance to some of the employers in the schools of nursing that have inquired from the national level as to things that they could do to be able to detect fraud. Additionally, with the board visibility, I also want to make sure you were aware that we attended the Pearl River Community College pinning ceremony, as well as pinning ceremonies in Hines Community College for their ADN program. NOAP conference, we had one of our staff who was heavily involved and continues to be with NOAP attend that conference, and that deals with alternative to discipline on individuals that have substance use disorder conditions. The licensure data, you can see we have 53,198 RNs, LPNs 13,287. And I will let you know that that is a slight increase from the previous month. It may be 100 participants that have increased thus far, but we are seeing a slight increase in both the RNs and the LPN licensure data. Nurse practitioners, 7,446. CRNAs, 1,062, and our nurse midwives are holding steady around 34. Disciplinary actions for April 2024. The board heard 53 hearing matters. 22 of those were hearings and 31 were agreed settlement proposals. There were 6 letters of concern and 4 summary suspensions during that time. As you can see, you're very busy. In investigations and CBC actions, on-site fingerprints, we had 420. As you are aware, this is a graduation period, so we tend to see a lot more of fingerprints. Fingerprint cards were mailed, 341. We received 54 allegations during that time period, and 1,171 registered applicants either for NCLEX licensure or endorsement. Regulatory updates, Part 2840, Part 2880, and Part 2820 of 30 Mississippi Admin Code are awaiting resolution from the Secretary of State's office. All were approved by the OLRC on March 29th, 2024, and it is anticipated that we will receive notification from the Secretary of State's office within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And once that occurs, they will be posted on our website. and implementing the administrative code. Are there any questions?
Questions for Dr. Johnson?
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Moving forward for board business, do we have a motion to approve the business meeting minutes for April 12th, 2024?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
All those in favor say aye. Any of those that oppose? Thank you. Next, a motion to approve the Board of Directors governance retreat minutes from May 7th to 9th.
Make a motion, we accept the board of directors governance retreat minutes from May 7th and 9th.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Next, a motion for the hearing panel minutes for December of 2023.
Make a motion, we accept the hearing panel minutes for December.
All those in favor? Any opposed? The next thing on the agenda is a motion to approve the agreed settlement proposal minutes for December 2023.
Make a motion, we accept the agreed settlement proposal minutes for December 2023.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Next is to approve your reading of the names on motions.
Make a motion, we waive the reading of names on motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, the next thing on the agenda is future meetings. We will have administrative hearings and settlements July 16th, 17th, and 18th, beginning at 8:30 a.m. The business meeting will occur on July 19th, 2024 at 11:05 a.m. And currently, the panel will be Nancy Johnson, Carly Walker, Lacey Gentry, and if there is someone else in the capacity of RN that could also do that, please get with myself or Dr. Johnson to let us know if you're able to assist that week. Next is, would anyone like to make a motion to accept the executive director's?
That's an error. I apologize.
All right, that's no motion. All right, next, we're gonna go to committee reports. The first one is the executive committee, and I do have a couple of things coming out of executive committee today. The motion that the court reporter is no longer required for motion, for business meetings on Fridays.
Second motion.
What is that?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next. I'd like to make a motion to add one additional day between hearing panels for the purposes of ASPs.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? I'm sorry.
I just want to get clarification. So adding the day, help me understand what we're doing.
Okay, so the purpose is, adding a day in between. We're looking at about 30 to 40 days before the hearing panels, so that we can address ASPs. And if we need to move forward with a case, they will have enough time to do notice and we can move forward and stay on track with our hearings.
So it would be a panel that would convene. These are new panel hearings.
Yes,
It'll be like a day on
just one
odd
day.
months.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, okay.
So it'll be like-
Yeah, about that 30 to 40 day window ahead of a hearing panel.
And how often do we do this?
Every,
So 6 times, like we do 6?
yes,
Okay.
And it'll start in 2025.
yes.
Oh,
January
thank
2025.
you. That's for the clarification.
It will be on when we do in October, when we sign up, it'll be on paperwork there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right,
Do we have a second?
So we just need to, and we just need to vote.
okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? The next thing on the agenda is a motion to accept the administrative denial of case 2024-000406.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. The next order of business is the Compliance Committee.
Madam President, I have two things to bring to the board. First, I move that the board adopts the compliance committee recommendation for 4 affidavits, 1 and 3 affidavits, 2. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion with.
I'm sorry, I couldn't,
Now,
I couldn't hear. Yeah,
Okay, you want me to repeat it?
yes, please.
Okay. I move that the board adopts the compliance committee recommendation that 4 affidavits, 1 and 3 affidavits, 2, that we accepted.
I made the motion, we accept the compliance committee's recommendations.
I'll second.
And then the second one is,
We need a vote. Oh, we're gonna do it. Oh, no, I'm talking. We need a vote on the motion.
Second.
Yeah. I'll make the second. Is
I
that
made the second.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Question,
opposed?
question. Can you flesh, being new, can you flesh that out for me a little more? I don't know. When you refer to those affidavits, what does that mean?
like, they did something, but they get a second chance. Like, they have to pay a fine, and that's, the first is the first offense, second is their second offense. Does that make sense?
If I may, Madam
Yeah.
President, I think what you're referencing is coming out of the compliance committee, and these are people that are currently being monitored.
Okay,
And so they have not completed all the requirements of the monitoring, or they did not do something they were supposed to do in their monitoring agreement. And so they're brought forward to that committee for them to decide whether they need to bring them back for show cause to the full board, or if it's something based on what they did not do, that they have the capacity to do in committee and bring it forward to vote on. So obviously it was something that these individuals did not meet in their requirements for the monitoring purposes.
So we had the motion, the second. They voted. Okay. Yeah.
That we approve the updated education forces to the compliance education forces that we used at the hearings. We updated them. Motion to accept them.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? That's Ms. Moss. So moving on to Advanced Practice Committee, Dr. Stewart.
We have nothing to bring forward.
Thank you. Next is the Practice Committee, Ms. Clayton.
We have nothing.
Thank you, ma'am. The Administrative Code Committee, Ms. Gentry is not here today, so on behalf of her, Administrative Committee plans to meet in the near future to discuss issues brought forth, to the committee. Ms. Gentry will be reaching out to those members in the next week to set a date for the committee to meet. So with that being said, there will not be anything coming out of Administrative Code of Judge. Next thing on the agenda is the Finance Committee.
All right, you have in your packets a summary of financials. I'm gonna refer to those, and I'll go over it. These financials as of April the 30th, 2024. This is still fiscal year 24 that we're reviewing. Now we're closing out fiscal year 24. Looking forward in July 1st for 25, and then making plans for fiscal year 26. I'll speak of that in a bit. Revenue collected through March was $2,438,380. That stayed pretty much steady over the years, about a 1% increase there. So that looks good. You can see a breakdown here. Total budget's $5,062,992. We have current purchase orders of $118,968.99. Park funds, which is allotted for a vehicle for the Board of Nursing at $25,667.61. Total commitment at this point is $144,636.60. Actual expenses are $3,554,000, and the available fiscal year budget total as of April 30th had $1,364,249.71. As far as details below, you can see that under salaries, expenditures of salaries at 61.07%. That is very much under budget, but that's due to quite a few openings throughout the agency. Travel is sitting at 83.05%. That is a little bit high. However, we do have a remaining budget of $14,071, and we expect that to be adequate to finish out the fiscal year. Service expenditures are at 80.4% of the budget, which is good at this point. Commodity expenditures are at 61.48%, which is holding very well. We've got 31,588 unspent. On the capital outlay equipment, we're only at 2.85% of that budget. There has been a requisition sent in for additional computers for the agency, which should get us up a little bit on that. Probably will not spend all of that budget category. And then the capital outlay vehicle, which I mentioned earlier, around $25,000, and that'll probably be unspent. However, we have been approved for that amount in the next fiscal year budget, so it should be fine. In conclusion, our total expenses right now are at 70% of the budget. We're in a very good place there. We have a higher use of travel, but we're still within the allocated budgets. Other matters, I guess, you can see on page 2 if you're following along. The Fair Labor Standards Act changing the salary base for earning time and a half, compensatory time. And so you can see the change there. They'll be performing an analysis to determine who will be affected by this change. And then the agency was still awaiting our budgetary allocations. You can see, I think there is, well, you received an email, and there's also an addendum here, and I'll go over that real quick. As I said earlier, we're closing out the fiscal year budget for 2024. Our total budget for 2024 was $5,062,992. We're opening our fiscal year 25 budget on July 1st. We did receive an increase of $523,088.12. So our total budget going forward in fiscal year 25 will be $5,586,080. You all received an email within the last few days regarding budget requisitions for fiscal year 26. Now is the time we have to make plans for that. By July, we need to turn in these requisitions and have them going forward so that they can be considered. And Shan sent out an email, gave all the criteria for those requisitions. So if you'll follow that, but just know it needs to be submitted as soon as possible. An example of a requisition would be ONW met, and we're wanting to increase the amount of money that's received by ONW to go for future scholarships and other things. That would be an example. So if there's anything in your particular area that you would like to see the board request money for, now's the time. Real quick, if you will notice, for fiscal year 25, an increase of that budget came. We did get approval for salary and wage increases of $498,088. We also got capital outlay for the vehicle, which I said would be carried over. That's the $25,000. And then subsidy loans saw a $57,900 increase. So that kind of gives you where the difference is coming in there. Open to any questions if anyone has it.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Cummins? Next, we're going to move on to the Office of Nursing Workforce with Ms. Clanton.
The ONW committee met, and we are having 6 members of the advisory council that will be falling off in the 30th of June. So we met and we went through the applications and we selected 6 nominations that I'm bringing to the board now, and I'll list their names. One is Donna Hiphill. She's She's an RN and she's the MSN ADN Director at East Central Community College. The second one is Kristen Long, which is RN and Doctor to Nurse Prac, Associate Chief Nurse Executive at North Mississippi Medical Center. Christina McDuffie, Nurse, Patient Care Manager on the telemetry at Forest General Hospital. Kristen Miner, as RN, Head of the Nurse of Mississippi Army National Guard, Weekend Supervisor at Highland Homes Nursing and Rehabilitation. Lorana Cersei, Master's Degree Nurse, APRN, and she's the MSN Coordinator at Alcorn State University School of Nursing. Dr. Maud McGill, RN, PhD, Executive Director of the Mississippi LPN Association. So I would like to make a motion that we nominate them for the advisory committee.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
How long are their terms?
Any other questions?
All right, I'm not, that was just the number one.
Okay, go ahead.
We can take a
I'm-
vote on it.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
All right, the second thing coming from the ONW committee is, we would like to move forward with a motion to distribute the funding for the scholarships in the fiscal year 25 as indicated in the prior years. That's in form of a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, just a quick question. So in former years, those are not specific to institutions, right?
As far as what we've done.
It's like for students and,
It's for the student scholarship. It's going to the institution or the college, and the college is going to distribute it to the students.
okay, so the process is the same,
The process is
basically.
exactly the same.
Any other questions? All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next, we're gonna move on to the next item on the agenda, the NCSBN annual meeting, which will be held August 28th through 30th, 2024 in Chicago, Illinois. Now, we do have some delegates and alternates. We have Carly Walker, LPN, as a delegate, Jeremy Cummins, LPN alternate delegate, Dr. Priscilla Burks, RN delegate, Lacey Gentry, RN alternate delegate. And so with these delegates, I'd like to put a motion out to accept or approve the delegates for this meeting at NCSBN. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, the next thing, we have two last items on the agenda for today. One of them is elections, and then we have some personnel matters we would like to discuss in executive session. So the first thing we're gonna address is election officer. So our election committee.
Yes, Madam President, our chairman, Dr. Lacey Gentry is not with us today, so I'll be presenting on behalf of the committee report. So for president, we have Ms. Sandra Culpepper that's nominated. Will there be any further nominations from the floor? Seeing none, the nominations for president are closed. For treasurer, we have Jeremy Cummins nominated. Are there any further nominations from the floor? Seeing none, the nominations for treasurer are closed. For secretary, Ms. Janie Clanton is nominated. Are there further nominations from the floor? Seeing none, the nominations for secretary are closed. Can we do a voice vote or? Okay, so at this time, we can do a voice vote. Should I go for each one or? Okay, for president, Ms. Sandra Culpepper.
Yes.
All those in
Oh.
favor?
All in favor? Sorry.
Yes.
Aye. Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. For treasurer, Mr. Jeremy Cummins, All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstains? For secretary, Ms. Janie Clanton, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstains?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Moody, great job. Yes.
With the motion, we're going to close session, consider whether we need to go into executive session.
I've got a motion. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Now, we'll need to ask everybody to leave the room.
So if you all don't mind, just give us a few minutes.
I'm going to separate yourself from the Zoom so I can have TJ.
Well, maybe.
Excuse me, for just.
She had really good cancer. I say she needed me to stay. She came back and they loved her.
Stay. I mean, if anybody's going to stay.
I miss y'all. I'm like, I'm gonna try and stay.
Well, yeah, I think she wants you to go over the, yeah.
I'm waiting on, okay. So we can put TJ on. TJ, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
We approved the finance committee report. I don't think we took a vote on it.
Oh, did we do the motion?
Did
for
we
the finance
take a
committee?
vote on the finance committee report?
We don't need to approve the report. It's just a report.
Barb issues.
All right, you guys, sorry, I was making sure Jacob got to see his grandma. That's what he referred to. So what we're gonna be discussing, first we have to go into executive session. Do we,
I'll make the motion, we go into executive session. Job performance,
job performance?
Personnel matters, yes.
All right, you made a motion and
Motion, Alvin seconded.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
And who do you want to stay in the room besides board members? You want Shan to stay?
I do want Shan to say, because she can give us some information as far as, because what we're gonna discuss is what she's done as far as, the review of the executive director as well as the potential for a pay increase.
Okay.
What she's oversaw.
So Shannon, that's it.
That's it. So with that being said, I'm gonna let Shan take the lead on this because you've all received by email the results of that.
So I think everyone's received the executive director's report evaluation. And just so you'll know how it works, because if you don't, we use the system ThoughtSpan. And ThoughtSpan, that's our licensing database. It goes through that system and will email out to each one of you. Dr. Johnson has not been privy to these results yet. I only share them with the board president once we've received them. And then board president does her, or his or her, sorry, meeting or conference with the executive director. Additionally, I did reach out to Madam President we were doing our last final, evaluation of the salary numbers. I did reach out to State Personnel Board. There were additional funds to give anyone that has not received a raise in fiscal year 24. Those 4 people were 4 staffs that we had. We've already submitted those possible increases. And then Dr. Johnson was also on the list for a possible 5% increase. So I want to bring that information to you all as well. Well within the budget, if you guys approve that, it can be anywhere from 1% to 5%. We have it in the budget. And her overall score on the eval was a 93% total.
I did have one question, and this goes back to a year or two ago when the legislature actually approved her raise and then the personnel board in their great wisdom denied. Has there been any move forward from that side with trying to get her up to where the other boards are?
A little bit. So they did give State Personnel Board a little bit more, agencies a little bit more flexibility. The fight still continues because we do try to take those actions through LBO first. It's much easier to get it done through LBO than SPB. So we definitely try to get it through LBO. They did give us a little leeway this year, some flexibility with our nursing pens. Actually, the nursing pens, we can recruit now at 10% above start salary, 15% above start salary for our nurses. In fiscal year 25, which is going to be great. And that includes Dr. Johnson's position as well. So there was some flexibility there. Outside of SPB, and I'm sure Assistant General Kim can attest to, it's tough getting it through SPB. But they are putting a lot of the power in SPB's hands. And you just have to, learn how to maneuver the system and get your stuff in and watch your funds closely to make sure you can give those salaries when it's time to give them. So when they called and said we had X amount, we went straight to work. And there's a lot of little nuance and paperwork that you have to get done. For example, if we do decide to approve the executive director's salary increase today, the minutes from today have to be approved before that can happen. So I'll have to do a special call, quick meeting once we get these minutes back to get that signed and approved. I think it has to actually be signed to submit to SPB. Those are just things that they require. I'm not sure if it's in the statute how that works, but
An alternate could be, and it would take a degree of trust, but would be for this board to allow for Madam President to go ahead and sign and approve the meeting minutes without a special call meeting.
that would be so awesome.
Okay. You can certainly still email the minutes to everybody, and everybody can email you back if they've got comments or revisions. But if they would just give the authority to Sandra to go ahead and sign off and approve them, and they can ratify that decision at the next meeting, or we'd just be done with it. Okay.
I have a couple of questions. One, just to clarify, when was the last adjustment for?
The last adjustment
Dr.
was 2023 for Dr. Johnson, and it was a 5% increase given through state legislative budget office. The board voted to take her to 150, but we could not get her to 150, which is definitely not in comparison to, we did a comparison with other regulatory executive directors, and Dr. Johnson is 80,000 plus below those executive directors, pharmacy board. We'll put medical board in there, but there is a big difference between medical and nursing.
There's a big difference between medical and everybody.
Yeah.
However, a lot of
Yeah,
those,
I think we need to carve them out.
however, a lot of those boards don't have near the licensees we have.
No, or the staff.
Y'all not supposed to be on the Zoom.
Who is Mississippi Board of Nursing? Yeah.
That's us.
That's us. Yeah.
Actually, says some key.
This and TJ.